movies get me to sort of a warm and fuzzy, likable Randy place. I'd never get there otherwise. I'd never write, "You got a friend in me." You know, I sound like a used car salesman. If I'm not saying anything of interest, or if I'm not repeating myself, if I'm repeating myself too much, I think of quitting, yes. And I'll sing nonsense, you know.
So how do you work at home? Do you work with, well, a piano like this?
Yeah.
How do you capture your thoughts in a process of, let's say, 9-to-5 job? Is it a 9-to-5 job, writing?
Yeah. For me, it's not 9 to 5 necessarily, but I mean, movie is, 7 to 7, because it's a set thing and I can think about it, something there. A song is a little harder if I'm writing a song for myself and I can only work about 4 hours at it. It's like 8 to 1. But yeah, I have to sit down and try to have an idea to have one. I think I'm too strict about that I should open up a little, and I've said that in so many interviews that maybe I'm too strict about it and should, try and get an idea in the shower or something. But it just doesn't seem, I just don't want to think about it unless I have to.
Yeah. You start off with the melody line, or do you
I'll start off with, with a lick of some kind, Everybody knows that you got to I should start knowing what key I'm going to be in. And I'll sing nonsense, But hopefully that'll impel me into starting something. And then the nature of the way I write is it's a voice of some kind, not my own, and it'll dictate what diction the guy, what kind of things he'll say and what he won't say. And then sometimes I'll get to a title. I should write some songs that have hooks first, like try and construct a traditional song hit-like thing. I'll see if I could do it.
Mm-hmm. How do I have to see your film scores? Is that just one part of you, and the pure craftsmanship and the more personal side is the songs that you write for solo albums?
No.
Is it two different worlds?
Two different worlds. I think I have a different aesthetic where music is concerned as opposed to lyrics. Yeah. I'm glad that movies allow me to write, and so on. I'm playing it only because it's simple. I can't play some of the other stuff, but stuff I wouldn't get to, like I was born to make you happy. I think it's just my style. Everywhere I go, telling everyone I know, I love to see you smile. I like all that sort of, the movies get me to sort of a warm and fuzzy, likable Randy place. I'd never get there otherwise. I'd never write, "You got a friend in me." I sound like a used car salesman. Yeah. To me, I would. I just don't think that way. That's not where my allegiance is to comedy and to irony, sort of, in a way. But musically, it's to Mahler or Schoenberg or Beethoven or, just whatever I'm doing. It's a different kind of thing, I don't often put them together. They don't necessarily go together. Last picture I did, Toy Story 2, which soon will be out here soon. It's got big Western music in it. It's got big space music in it. Stuff I'd never write in a million years, but I'm glad I got to write them. It stretched me out and scared me. And I was proud of it.
Are you still able to do inventions into yourself when you work on film scores like Toy Story, for instance? Do you do your own
experiments or
well, your own personal inventions almost? That, am I able to do this? Is this from my brains? Do I make this?
Well, sometimes you're surprised. that you had. I was surprised with Bugs Life that I had the technique to do some of the stuff required, counterpoint stuff and all. Allowed is a dangerous word in movie music because you have a boss, you know, you got a director, and I've been fortunate that he's been a nice guy, you know, on those animated pictures. But sometimes, you know, they're just guys with a CD player who think they know a lot about music, you know. Basically, as a group, I can't stand them. I wouldn't have one in my house. Yeah. When they're nice, they're faking. And I know I'm insane on this subject. You know, I mean, I know that you're looking at me, and I can't, maybe it's because my uncles were in the same business, I just can't like these guys. You know, I do what they tell me, and some of them know a lot about music. And this last guy, John Lester, was a good guy. But I just don't like him, and it's not their fault. It's just that I just hate anyone being able to tell me what to do. Mm-hmm. You know, one thing, I'm sorry I'm rambling on like this, but I haven't talked to anybody for a couple of years. My son's in the record business now. And it says, you know, the A&R department told Aerosmith or someone that they didn't like the record and take it back. And I said, what? And A&R departments are apparently very intrusive in terms of, no, we don't have a single there, we can't release this record. As much as I complained about Warner's not selling records for me or DreamWorks not selling records for me now, and I haven't very much, I didn't realize that they were protecting me, you know, by no one ever told me what to write. Never, nobody ever did. And so I find it difficult when it happens in the thing. I'm very grateful to them for Lenny Waronker and whoever did it for that. That's more important to me than anything would be. Having 20 hits would be, because I do what I want and it makes me happy in my own way. I'm grateful for that.
I'm curious about a few of the lyrics of your latest album, Bad Love. Like each record that I'm making is like a record that I've made, just not as good. Yeah.
Well, it's a song about I'm dead, but I don't know it. I mean, seems like people never retire from rock and roll. I mean, there's no one that comes around and taps them on the shoulder. You know, you don't realize you're worse or you've had it or you're not doing well anymore. You go in there and you think you're doing the best, but I didn't know, I didn't think I was writing about myself particularly, but just about that whole generation of people that are still jumping around and wearing tight pants and kicking away, and it maybe isn't as good as what they used to do. And so part of it is every song I write all sounds the same. Each record that I'm making that is like a record that I mean. There's always people to tell you, oh, why don't you do something like you did in 1938? Well, my favorite thing of yours is this thing, and you did it when you were like 19, you know. So that's all that's about.
So in fact,
I didn't think it was true until I saw my record sales in the United States. You know. No.
How hard is it for you to judge on your own albums? I mean, how good is Bad Love, or how good is Little Criminals, or Land of Dreams?
In my opinion, Bad Love and Trouble in Paradise are my best albums. That's my opinion of it. Trouble in Paradise, the songs maybe aren't as good as on Bad Love. The Bad Love arrangements are the best arrangements I've ever done for myself, without a doubt. That I'm positive of. Bad Love's got a couple of songs that are kind of weak, Going Home and The One You Love, maybe. But Sail Away had them too. So I mean, it's representative me, you know. It isn't like I don't notice any signs of decay, of real decrepitude. It's not to say I can do it again, but I did do it this time. I think, you know, I'm 56. And there's no telling that this isn't a young person sort of form, you know, like chess and physics, but on a far lower level, you know, where people do their best work and then just play Groningen, you know, every year and just keep coming back and the cities get smaller and so smaller. But
do you ever think of quitting?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. This aspect of it, performing aspect of it, I think of quitting, or writing songs for myself, I think of quitting. I can't quit movies. because I got a big family. Mm-hmm. But I think that if I'm not saying anything, if I'm not saying anything of interest, or if I'm not repeating myself, if I'm repeating myself too much, I think of quitting, yes.
So is that the reason why you release a record every,
it's just mistakes.
Well, let's take an average every 4 years?
That's just a terrible kind of, sometimes there's been, paralysis brought on by not wanting to go in there, whether it's, if you don't try, you can't fail. So, I mean, there's never been like a demand. The one time there was, after I had Short People and it was sort of a hit, and Little Criminals sold very well, the one time there was sort of a demand, I made a record fairly quickly. So I think if it had been, if there had been like, oh, you have had some success, hurry up, follow up on it, I would have behaved in the traditional way anyone, who has any commercial. Yeah. And I have a lot more, commercial ambition than you'd think from the nature of the stuff I write. I mean, it's like I'm not writing this kind of stuff for, to be played. It isn't the sound of one hand clapping, or if a tree falls in the forest, does anyone hear? I don't want to be that. I want lots of people to hear, but I can't change the way I write to do that. I would change anything else. Yeah. I'd put on a pickle suit and dance around at anything. But the way I write, I have to write whatever I think of.
Is money still an issue?
Yeah, it is. You get into traps. You make an obscene amount of money at times, and you think then you make less, and you think, oh, geez, I have to work harder or do something else, and I try not to let it become one. I don't think I'm a materialistic kind of person. There's nothing I want I mean, my family lives way better than I do. My kids used to call me the $30,000 man because, there's nothing that I need or anything, but you do movies in part certainly for money because it's not, a lot of it isn't fun. So I plead guilty to that.
One of the other lines that struck me very much is, "This is my country, these are my people, this is the world I understand."
Television. That's what I meant. I was going to say up there at some point in the song. Those are my people up there. But I couldn't get it in and it wasn't right. That's what I'm talking about. Not humans, but TV.
Now, what is your best moment in writing? What's been your best moment in writing?
During the process? Yeah. You never know. It might have been solving a problem in a movie, writing something for orchestra that really excited me, that I thought, whoa, man, that's really going to sound, 3 trumpets there and 4 trumpets there and, 4 trombones there. I was sort of amazed at how the Karl Marx song worked out so neatly. I was proud of that. I'm only giving recent memories. I was thrilled with Redneck, except for the ending, when he knows the names of all the ghettos. There's always some little thing that I couldn't fix. But I've had, Davy the Fat Boy, it was kind of a thrill. When I wrote the theme for The Natural, the Robert Redford movie, I was real happy because I knew I'd solved a very big problem for myself. Some of my happiest moments are with the orchestra when I'm doing a score, and I'm working with those 3 or 4 days and hearing my music played by 100 guys. Coming down the stairway at the Concertgebouw in 1971, 1972, red steps, and foremost in my mind was don't fall, but next in my mind is that sound, what the hell, here's all these people coming to hear me sit at a piano, which I've done all my life in a room, not practicing but writing little songs or whatever it is, and I'm up, 6,000 miles from my house, and I was cognizant that was a big deal, that you got to notice things like that. When something good happens to you, you should pay attention. I've learned that over the years. All the bad things I'd notice and say, oh, this is terrible. But when something good happens, you got to learn to accept a compliment, and you got to learn to accept some success or some nice things, because
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. It was a pleasure. Pleasure talking to you. I know I talk too much, but
No, you don't.
you fix it.
No, you don't.
In Dutch, it'll be shorter.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Nice to see you.